All right, guys. So today we are going to talk about rhetoric. Rhetoric is a giant word, okay? It's one of those big words that you're going to hear for the rest of your life. It comes from the Greek. I don't remember what it actually means from the beginning, but essentially rhetoric is the art of persuasion. And so if you're taking notes, you can say that rhetoric is the art of persuasive speaking or writing. See, this started with the Greeks way back when, thousands of years ago, and it didn't even start with them. They just were the first ones to actually write about it and explain it. So Aristotle wrote on this book called On Rhetoric, and it talked all about how to persuade an audience to think the way that you think, to buy into what you're buying into, to do what you want them to do. And he said that there are three different things that you need in order to make that happen: ethos, logos, and pathos. Now, we're not going to get into those at this moment, but what you need to focus on with rhetoric is that rhetoric is all about persuasion. Now, note, it does not mean that rhetoric is lies. It just means that rhetoric is the art of persuading someone to think what you think or to buy into what you are selling. That does not mean that you are necessarily a liar. It just means that you are using these techniques to get people to think that way. And in fact, we use rhetoric all the time. You use rhetoric around your cafeteria table. I use rhetoric in the classroom to get you to buy into whatever I am teaching. So a simple way to say this is that effective rhetorical language argues a point and motivates people to act or believe a certain way. It does not mean that it's falsifying stuff, although sometimes it can, which is why you need to have this thing called discernment when you are listening to people speak. Discernment is evaluating whether or not it is true or false, good or bad, useful or unuseful, right? So rhetoric, again, is the art of persuasive speaking and writing, and it's an effective rhetorical language, argues a point and motivates people to act or believe a certain way. Now, most rhetorical speeches, those are speech acts or presentations, can be broken down into three basic parts. There's the plea, where the speaker states their main argument, and this is sort of like sort of like an essay's introduction, right? Where you're setting up the premise. It needs to be logical. It needs to connect to the audience. It needs to show that you are, in fact, credible, right? But this is like the introduction to an essay. And then there's the evidence portion, where the speaker supports their arguments with facts, reasoning, anecdotes, or other rhetorical devices. So this evidence can come in a multitude of ways, but the evidence could first begin with just facts, right? Let's take your scientist and you want to present facts on this. Well, here you've got some evidence as in facts. Let's say you're like Mr. Kane and you want to connect with people, so you share your stories. Well, these are anecdotes. We covered that word earlier in the year. Anecdotes connect with people on an interest level, on a heart level, whatever the case is. This is a different kind of evidence that draws you differently into the material, and it might persuade you in a different way, right? Sort of like showing, if you want someone to feel something and maybe give money to your organization, you might show pictures of little puppies or something like that. And you're like, oh, little puppies. And then you'll give money to the organization. Okay, so that's the evidence. And then third, there's the call to action. Once you've given the fact that you are a credible source, once you have offered that you are that you have facts and research and then emotion to back up what you're doing, now you need to ask the listener, the audience, to do something. And this is the call to action. The speaker calls upon their audience to do something. And this is sort of like the conclusion of an essay. Now, some of you might have never thought of an essay broken down this way. Some of you are just connecting this rhetorical language to essays now. But either way, there are three parts to rhetorical language or the rhetorical speech act: the plea, the evidence, and the call to action. So what you're going to do now is you're going to continue down on the worksheet, and you're going to view each of the clips. Each of those blue sections is a hyperlink to the clip. You're going to watch each of them, and then you're going to, write down what the plea is, what the evidence is, and what the action is. Okay, do the first one, the slap chop infomercial. Do that as 2 minutes, 55 seconds. Do that one together as a class, and then do the rest of them independently. And we're going to talk about this when I get back into the classroom on Thursday. So make sure that this is done for Thursday. All right? Have a great day, guys.